Hello, my name is Peter McCartt, and welcome to Westchester County Roundup, where today we're going to speak to Ruth Walters, who is running for county legislator in the County Legislative District of 15. Welcome today, Ruth.
Thank you, Peter.
How about you give us just a brief introduction to what you would like to talk about today and what you're running on?
So I looked at this legislative race last summer, and I decided that I would run because our current representative is not doing a great job. And one way I feel like I know that is because in 12 years, he's been in 12 years, and I don't find him to be my three goals for a representative, which is visible, accessible, and accountable. And those are three things that I will be as a representative for this district. And it's an easy thing to unpack for people, like what exactly you want in your legislative representative. So I will be those three things.
Okay. Can you tell us why you're running for office? What is leading to you to this position where we're sitting here?
So I think that the process of running for government is an important one. I think that more citizens should have this in the back of their minds, either before, during, or after their family or career. I have two wonderful children, a husband of 23 years. My background is I have a lot of tech in my experience, and currently for the last 8 years I've been a small business owner. My husband and I own a cheese shop in Bronxville called Dobbs and Bishop Fine Cheese. We've been there 8 years, and when we got past the sort of entrepreneur part of that beginning a business, my children are older, and I think it's a good time for me to engage in something that I'm really passionate about, which is local politics.
What are the steps you have taken to run for office, and do you think it's been a positive, process, or can you tell us a little bit about that?
It has been a positive process. I think that it's a complicated process, and I think it's a difficult process. But I think that people should look at running for office as a part of being engaged citizens. So we should be voting more. Our voting participation is low, especially in these off-year elections, but I think that when you consider the fact that we are a democracy, we shouldn't leave running for office to a specific group of people. And when I started this process, I went to the Board of Elections, and they have a little guide, which I think would be better if it was a little more complete. And there are steps to take, just like there are to start a business, and I followed those steps. You need a treasurer, you need to form a committee, you really need an endorsement from a major party, which I got. The Democrats in Yonkers have been supportive, and the Democrats in Bronxville have been supportive. So then you're off to the races as an endorsed candidate. You need petitions signed, which is incredibly difficult. But I got great support from both committees. This district, just as an aside, is the village of Bronxville and a huge swath of north and eastern Yonkers. And there are 17 legislative districts at the county level, and all but 3 of them cross municipal lines. And I think it's a great system because what it does is it gives us the opportunity to work on shared problems together. Things like roads, sewers. We have so many problems that we need to address together as across the county. And so these legislative districts have been drawn in a way for us to facilitate that. So just going back, after petitions are signed, I did get a primary, which was interesting and very, very complicated. There's all kinds of things called OTB, which means opportunity to ballot. There was a write-in, And we spend so much time in our culture on things like baseball and football. I know a lot about those sports. I know nothing about cricket.
The sport of politics.
The sport of politics should, we should be paying a little bit of attention to it. And it is complicated, but it doesn't mean that we can't, as citizens, participate.
Yeah, I don't know that much about that process myself. I think it should be out there a little bit more.
It should be, yeah.
And maybe we would engage more people to do it if the process was a little more streamlined. So let's talk about the district and the county. What do you think are some of the issues that are most important facing our future here in Westchester?
So
in your district?
In my district particularly, we have many different neighborhoods, and many of them are quite different. We have Westchester Hills, which is beautiful and quite high up. We have Woodstock Manor, which is close to the river. Beautiful homes, beautiful views. We have the village of Bronxville, which is also quite beautiful to look at. We have Colonial Heights, Crestwood, Cedar Knolls, Armourvilla, Bryn Mawr. We have No Lock, which I think is North Lockwood, and I have spent the last 6 months walking the district, talking to people, asking them for their vote, asking them about what their experience of local politics is and what their wishes for their district and their leaders. And I think again and again and again I get the answer, I don't know who my county legislator is, I don't know his name, I don't know what he stands for, I don't know what he does. And we've been at events together, and he said, well, I don't have to learn the district. I know the district. However, I'm not sure that the voters of the district know him. And I'm on his email list, and I get, sort of chatty emails about free herring to stock your ponds, but I don't get information from him about what his votes are, why he took these different votes. I don't agree with a lot of the votes that he takes. And I think as the legislator for this district, I would be very much more communicative, and I would be telling people, this is why I'm voting for this is why I'm not voting for this. There's a vote coming up. Why don't you come to the legislative body, which meets on Mondays at 7, and encourage people to be aware of what's happening with their legislature.
What specific votes, since you brought it up, would
Okay.
you take differently, from your current legislator?
So there's a really big problem with the budget right now. We have $1.8 billion in tax dollars. We hear a lot from the current administration about the property tax, but that's only 1/3 of the revenue. Another third is from sales tax, and as a small business owner, I collect sales tax and I remit it to New York State, who then brings it back to the county. And I don't see any input by the county into small business to encourage them to open, to encourage them to grow. And that's another avenue that would take pressure off of property taxes, which I know people are very upset about. So the votes that he has taken on the budget, which say, we have zero tax increases, don't address the fact that we have other costs that are going up, including water in Yonkers. There's lots of, tag-ons for people who are driving through the cities, and I think we need to look at the other parts of the budget, increasing revenue, and we really are looking at a big problem if the federal government takes away any of our funding for Medicaid. That's the biggest part of our budget. So that's one vote, the budgets. I have two more.
Give them to us.
So the other two votes that I would totally be a different vote than my opponent is I do not believe we should be privatizing the airport. I think that the taxpayers built that airport, and it's working all in all levels. But when you privatize something, then the company will be looking after profits, and when the government is owning it, they look after the people. We have neighbors around who have been promised that the number of flights will not increase, the number of passengers per hour, but they do not have a cap on the corporate jets. So we are looking at a really big increase in those if we privatize. Oak Tree Capital, they don't touch things that they can't make their money back 10 times over. So we're looking at a huge expansion. Kensico Dam is right near. I'm concerned about water quality. Mr. Astorino has not tested the water since 2011 and had just paid a huge fine, $1.1 million for not taking care of Yonkers water well. So that's the second vote. And the third vote is the gun show veto. I think that was voted on, the veto. We do not need gun shows at the county level. We're all very concerned about the incident in Las Vegas. So we need to shut that down.
And then maybe back on a hyper-local level, what specific issues are you facing in your district, and your thoughts on possible solutions for those issues?
So when I grew up in Dobbs Ferry, I'm the youngest of 8 children. I was born in the Bronx, and when I was young, 8 to 12, we went to the Sprain Ridge Pool. And I am a swimmer. I've done a triathlon in Rye, and I think that getting children to learn how to swim at an early age is really important. So when I looked and I saw Sprain Ridge Pool has been closed since 2011, and I saw that the price tag to fix the pool went from $8 million in 2011 to $17 million. There's 6 years of children that have not been able to learn to swim. They have opened the kiddie pool, which I think you can swim up to here. But as you know, a community resource like a pool enables children as well as the older people, retirees, and families to enjoy swimming, and it is a life skill. So that's one thing I think is really important for this district, District 15. They should reopen that pool.
And what about the park system? Do you think everything is being run well there?
No. I think that what they're doing is they are cutting a lot of vital services to what brings people to Westchester, what keeps people in Westchester, in the guise of this zero tax increase. But what you're getting is things that are run down, things that are not safe. The county level police they've not hired enough police to be able to take care of this. This is a really big county. We have 1 million residents, and it's huge. And we need to make sure that those dollars are being spent wisely. And I have 2 experiences as a municipal employee, once as a court clerk, and the second I am the treasurer of the library. And when I go through the budget every single month with the director, we find ways to save money. So I am interested in looking at this budget. It's $1.8 billion, and we need people who are in there looking at that budget every single month, finding out where we can save money and projecting forward to invest in our county and make sure we don't have bigger problems at the end.
1.8 million. It's
billion with a B.
Holy moly!
Yeah.
So what does that go towards? Like, what are the majorities of that, or where does that?
So the biggest piece is Medicaid. We have it's unusual, but New York State has county funding for Medicaid, and it is for poor people, but it's also for the elderly. There's a lot of people in New York State and around the country who access Medicaid benefits for nursing homes. And I think that what happens at the federal level is of vital interest to our life here. But most of the budget, it's $1.2 billion of federal and state mandated things like the Westchester Community College, which is one of the jewels of our county, things like the jail, county police, and lots of social services. So when you think about community health, you want your children to be sitting next to kids, at a playground who are covered with all their immunizations. We don't want to have a breakout of, something like Zika. We want to make sure that people can access vaccinations and ongoing health so that the whole population stays healthy. You can't isolate yourself and consider yourself to be healthy.
And you mentioned that you were a clerk?
Yes.
Can you tell us more about that?
Sure.
That to me seems interesting.
I got to say all rise, when the judge came in. That was really exciting. But as I said earlier, I have an IT background, so I'm a learner. There's lots of computer systems that communicate between a court and the DMV, a court and the criminal justice system. And so I learned those systems, and then I found a reporting error, and we fixed the error, and we increased our ticket. We had a backlog of tickets that we decreased, and we also increased the court revenue. So I like efficiencies in government, and I would look at things like Tim Idoni has done as the county clerk to streamline not just the process on the side of staffing, but also for the person who's coming to the desk. You want to make sure that process goes smoothly. And I realized then that I really enjoyed interacting with the public, and I feel like government has that opportunity to be fair and clear, and when people are in a very upset state when they come in, that's the time I think a calm demeanor, somebody who strikes people as fair and knowledgeable about the system, it's a good experience that way.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your business background and
Yeah.
your current business and your business before that?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I...
Which I think is interesting. You know,
Yeah.
everybody loves cheese. Come on.
Everybody loves cheese. So we have a wonderful cheese shop in Bronxville. We've been there 8 years, and we opened it during the last downturn in 2009, and we've employed over 75 people, mostly high school and college students, but some, people at moms at home. And what we like to do is we like to teach people. So when we were opening, everybody would have mac and cheese out of a box, and now all the kids come in for middle school lunch and now high school lunch, and they get really great mac and cheese for lunch. And in addition, we do party platters, and we do a huge business at Christmas, and getting people excited about presenting cheese in a beautiful way. So we have a great product. We sell it at a good price. And we try to educate people in the idea that good food should be, treated carefully, and we really love.
So you have local and imported cheeses.
We do.
Not to hype or get on this cheese part, but I'm hungry.
Cheese is it's not a wedge issue.
Yeah.
We always say. And one of the things about me as a person is I am a community builder. I've been involved in my community, in the library and the court, but also in sort of the fun parts of life. My friend Sarah and I, we do the Christmas pageant, and that's a 7-church conglomeration. We put on a live Christmas pageant every year. I've done the dog parade. I like to be community booster. I like to be a builder of relationships, and we like to have a lot of fun. So when I look at politics, everybody thinks this is, it's about, knock down, drag out. I think politics should be doing a good job, listening to people and their problems, and trying to find good solutions.
Getting engaged in your community.
Yeah.
Some of that is volunteer work, obviously, the church
sure,
and the
sure.
dog parade. And is there any other volunteer work that you've done besides the library?
The library, I'm the treasurer, and every month
that's a big one.
we have a 1.4 million budget, but we
that's
go
why I was
through
getting the million and the billion mixed up.
We go through every month and look for
And
for
what is that
savings.
budget?
So that mostly goes to, we have a beautiful building, and obviously, what I would want to do at the county level is look at the fact that we have a beautiful county, and you don't want, to see things run down. You don't want we all drive in the same roads. We see a lot of, neglect and problems in the infrastructure in this county, and you want people who are going to go in there and invest wisely, so that we drive around and we walk around and we take the buses and feel like things are really people are on top of this, and it doesn't necessarily mean more money, it just means more efficiency. Yeah. And I think efficiency is something that you have to fight for. You have to fight to make things lean and efficient. And the current administration, I'm a big fan of George Latimer. I really want him to win, because I think that the current administration is kind of a smoke and mirrors budget, and the current executive is going elsewhere. He's not going to stay in Westchester. He's going to go out, and I want to stay in Westchester. I love being here.
There's talk of him running for governor.
Yeah, and I think it's clear that he's starving this county and this budget in the service of his higher ambitions. His
re-election process. Yeah.
And the gun show, I think, is also part of appealing to upstate voters, and I don't think Westchester County needs a gun show.
Before we sat down, you mentioned that maintenance is not a sexy thing. Nobody really wants to talk about it, but it's certainly what seems to be needed around our county.
I agree.
How can people get involved in your campaign? What have you done there?
So we have
talk about engagement.
We have a lot of outreach. We're going to have take your daughter to Canvas afternoon next week, and of course sons as well. I think that we are living in a time where people think it's not, I don't have to do this, or I just watch television and I learn about my candidates. But I encourage people to come to our headquarters, 105 Pondfield Road, and learn about.
Is there cheese there?
There's cheese next door. Cheese is nonpartisan, so we don't have signs up or anything. We want people of all political parties in the cheese shop. But we have canvassing days. We have phone banks. We have people holding signs, and I think that people should feel good about participating in local government and local races. We have lots to do. We should be doing it together.
So the past presidential election last November has changed things a lot. You've talked about some of that herein. Do you want to say anything else about it? Are you enough said it, or does it really apply to our county and to your hyper-local situation, your district, or not?
I think it's interesting because I think two things. One is, as a woman, I feel like we have to push back against the thought that women are always going to be sexual and sexualized. I think that's what we see at the vice president and the president, and I think that's troubling for women who want to work, women who want to be in positions of authority, and who want to have their family life separate from work. And I think the second thing is I think we mostly have been on the sidelines. I think we have let politics run by politicians, and I think citizens in this particular year should stand up and be counted and vote and be active. So those are two things I think are really important from what we just saw.
Yeah. So we have about 5 minutes left here. Okay. Would you like to take that opportunity to
Sure.
just talk about yourself and maybe kind of wrap up, and then if I have some questions in there, I can throw those in as well.
Okay. So I think we're meant to look at this. So my name is Ruth Walter. I am running for county legislature in District 15. There are lots of issues that are facing this district, which is Bronxville and northern and eastern Yonkers. We want to engage with voters. We want to engage people with their local representatives. And my promise is to be visible, accessible, and accountable. And those three things, I think the current person is not. I will be emailing and picking up the phone and talking to groups and going to meetings and learning, because even though you've lived in a place for a certain number of years, you have to continue to go out and talk to people, because people change, people move in and out, and issues change. So the more visible you are in a community as a representative, the better you can represent them. So, for example, I went to Woodstock Hills, and a few moms asked us when we were walking door to door, we really need a playground here. Now, that may not be a county issue, but it's something that I'm not sure that the current representative is even hearing. What do people need in their districts? What do they need about, better roads, better infrastructure? Things that bring people to Westchester and keep people in Westchester are, our beautiful park system, efficient transit, wonderful places to shop and eat, and there's a reason that people come here, and we want to continue that. The beauty of our parks and roads, making sure things work. So I'm running for County Legislative District 15. I would like people to come out and vote on November 7th, and I think we have a real chance to make a change here, and I want people to vote for change, but also vote for commitment, which is what I will have. Thanks.
Okay. So Ruth Walter running for County Legislator District number 15.
Yes.
We vote on, I think today is the deadline to register.
Correct.
So
correct. If you haven't registered to vote, you have.
You got to go hit the phones and get some people registered.
A few more hours.
Yeah.
But you can also vote absentee if you live, if you're going to college, or so we're asking people to vote absentee, send their kids a ballot, and there's a lot of people that don't pay attention, and I hope this year is different. It's a good year to pay attention.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity to sit down with Ruth Walter.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thanks.
I think that's about it. But we want to thank the people here at the Westchester County Roundup. Brian Herod and his group. I want to thank them for this opportunity to sit down with you. I'm interested. You got me engaged. So thank you.